Okay, I would greet you guys, but I have to tell you right now, of all the looks I've done, this is definitely not only the scariest, but definitely the weirdest. And actually what bothers me the most about it, even when I was doing it, these lips, these actually scare me more than anything else on my body right now. These disturbed. This look is obviously inspired by this season's American Horror Story, well, their advertisement for this season's American Horror Story, which is American Horror Story Cult, in case you're watching this video in the future. And this entire headpiece going on is actually just made out of like children's clay that you just like leave out to dry. Someone who's just starting out in prosthetics can definitely do this at home. As always, all the products I use today will be listed somewhere around the video. Also, don't forget to, you couldn't even understand me, all the products I use today will be listed somewhere around the video. I couldn't understand myself. Also, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to ask me in the comments below. I've also pretty much done a good majority of the American Horror Story seasons or a character from them, so I will be putting that in the corner linked in case you want to have a little marathon. Also remember, if you're wearing this out, that if you do paint yourself white, it doesn't really make your teeth look the whitest. Not that, you know, I mean, you got a beehive on your head, so you probably aren't concerned about that. Now I have this big box of Model Magic, which I have it because I know I'm gonna be using it like in the near future, but all you need is a bag. You're then going to make yourself a nice big ball of it and flatten it out using a roller. Mainly, you actually want to flatten the edges more than the center because you want it to have a little bit of thickness to it, so that way you can punch in the honeycombs later. And when I say you want the edges thin, you want them like pancake thin. Even if actually a pancake's not that thin, but you want it like paper thin. Now I have this head for prosthetics, but you guys can really use any kind of head form. They sell them at like hairdresser stores, stuff like that. And I'm just placing my bald cap on it. I kind of had a little sketch kind of going on of what I was thinking of. You can then very carefully pick up your clay and place it on top of the head. You're gonna want the thicker center to go in the center of the head and the thinner edges to go around the edges. Once I had that on, I carefully used a knife to slice off the edges. You can then smooth them out using a little bit of water. Because I couldn't find anything honeycomb shaped, I cut out a little piece of cardboard in a honeycomb shape and then glued it to a wooden doll. This created a little stamp. Now it's kind of time consuming, but from there, you just have to stamp in all of your honeycombs. I'm then gonna leave this dry and come back to it tonight, which realistically you could finish this entire project in one day, it's just that I started mid-afternoon. It is now nighttime. To create the edge around the honeycomb, I'm just making a worm and then just blending the sides into the head, kind of like I did earlier with the honeycomb. I let that dry overnight, but like I said, I started later in the afternoon, so really if you did this in the morning, by nighttime you should be able to paint it. I did an entire base coat using yellow alcohol-based paint mixed with a little bit of brown. The more you get the paint wet with alcohol, the more it's gonna leave drips within the honeycombs, and that's not necessarily a bad thing when you're painting something like this. Using a little more brown alcohol paint, I went around the edges and made it more brown. Using just completely brown alcohol-based paint, I filled in some of the honeycombs, which later on I'll be filling in with honey also. Not real honey, fake honey, but you know. Now in my opinion, I would like to have a bloody edge, but the edge on this look actually is more of a coral tone, so I used Coral Adjuster on the edge of the skin, I guess you would say it is. I also went in with rice paper alcohol paint and painted in some highlights. I then went around that entire edge using a clear gloss paint. This clear gloss is from the craft store. It is not meant to go on your skin directly. Taking some more of that clear gloss paint that we are not applying to our skin but are applying to the clay, I scraped in some yellow eyeshadow as well as some brown eyeshadow, very little amounts of brown eyeshadow to create our honey. I then globbed it in some of the holes, actually a good portion of the holes, making sure that it stays on the clay and does not drip down into the face area. Once that's all dry, you're going to want to hairspray or gel back your hair and put it in a tiny little bun in the back of your head. Once your headpiece is completely dry, you just pop it on. Now I know that many people do bald caps on themselves, but honestly it is tricky to cut a bald cap on yourself. This is definitely not the most beautiful I've looked on my channel. To cut your ears out of the bald cap, you just make one solid slit. And you just pop your ear out from underneath it. Make sure you don't cut too far back or else it can rip the bald cap, not your ear. When you have everything fitting the way that you want to, I'm taking a little bit of Pros-Aide, applying that to my skin, waiting till it turns clear, and then tacking it down. The rest of the bald cap application is just consisting of trimming and adhering. I'm then going to block out my eyebrows using a washable glue stick. And I'm first applying just my regular white body paint that I always use, and then for everything else, including around the prosthetic and on the bald cap, I'm going to be using cream makeup on the rest of my face. Cream makeup is a lot thicker, but you also better believe I'm not putting cream makeup all over my entire body. So, you know, I use my regular body paint for my neck, my chest, my shoulders, arms, hands, just a portion of my face, the bald cap, and around the prosthetic is cream. Cream makeup doesn't really feel bad when you powder it, but I'd rather not have it all over my body. Go ahead and prime your eyes. On my lid, I'm using a pink metallic shadow, and then on my crease and underneath my eye, I'm using a red metallic shadow. She kinda has a little bit of a hint of clowns in her, so we're using a very dark red body paint and applying it above and underneath my eye. Time for the most disturbing lips ever. I first applied a matte liquid lip and then applied a gloss over that. To get the points on it, I used a detail brush. You guys are gonna really like my bees. They look like beans. Ta-da! They're not the best bees in the world, but they work. I actually just rolled up a little ball of clay and then stuck them on using Pros-Aide. To further color them in, I used alcohol-based yellow as well as black for the stripes. Obviously, black and yellow, that's what a bee is. Now sadly, these guys have no wings, so I'm just going to paint them on my face or paint them on my head underneath. Since we cannot use the clear coat of paint for the honey that I used on my head, I'm going to be using gelatin that is safe for my face. And you mix that up the same way, adding a little bit of yellow eyeshadow and a smidge bit of brown into that. I look scary! I should look up bee jokes. What did the sushi say to the bee? Wasabi. Why did the bee go to the barber shop? To get a buzz cut cane! You're disrupting my background! Ah! What kind of bees drop things? A fumble bee. I'm done.